Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're about to break down how to travel the world on a shoestring budget. We're talking $50 a day, people. 50 bucks. I'm talking about real deals, authentic experiences, and memories that'll last way longer than your Instagram feed. We're gonna make it happen. Let's go. Alright, first things first. You need a plan. Winging it is cool, but not on a tight budget. We're talking spreadsheets, people. Maybe not spreadsheets, but at least a rough outline. Figure out your priorities before booking a flight. What do you want from this trip? Historical landmarks or local vibes? Research destinations that fit your budget and interests? Flights are the biggest expense, so timing is key. Red-eye flights, off-season travel, budget airlines, layovers save money, even if it means extra hours in an airport. It's all part of the adventure. Accommodation is another big one. Forget fancy hotels, hostels, guest houses, maybe even couch surfing. It's a game changer for meeting people and experiencing a place like a local. Now let's talk about food. You gotta eat, right? Street food, local markets, cooking your own meals. Embrace the flavors, the smells, the chaos. Maximize your experience with the resources you have. $50 a day might not seem like a lot, but it can take you further than you think.
So, we're talking about lodging. And let me tell you, hotels can eat into your budget faster than you can say room service. But fear not. There are alternatives, my friend. And they're not just cheaper, they're often way more interesting. First up, hostels. I know what you're thinking. Bunk beds, shared bathrooms, questionable smells. And yeah, sometimes it's like that. But hostels can also be vibrant, social hubs where you meet fellow adventurers from around the world. Plus, they often have kitchens, so you can save even more money by cooking your own meals. Then there's couchsurfing. Remember that website I mentioned earlier? It's basically like Airbnb, but free. You stay with locals who open their homes to travelers. It's a chance to experience a place through the eyes of someone who lives there, to get off the beaten path, and to make genuine connections. And if you're feeling adventurous, why not try camping? Pitch a tent in the wilderness, sleep under the stars, and wake up to the sounds of nature. Just make sure you check local regulations and safety guidelines first. The point is, lodging doesn't have to break the bank. Get creative, be open to new experiences, and you might just stumble upon some hidden gems.
Okay, let's talk about experiencing a place authentically without breaking the bank. Forget those overpriced tourist traps. I'm talking about immersing yourself in the local culture. And the best part? It's often free, or at least way cheaper than the stuff they market to tourists. Start by ditching those expensive guided tours and explore on your own 2 feet. Get lost in the back streets, wander through local markets, strike up conversations with the people you meet. That's where the real magic happens, my friend. Look for free cultural events like local festivals, street performances, or open-air markets. Not only are these events a blast, but they're also a great way to experience the local culture and to snag some unique souvenirs without spending a fortune. And when it comes to food, think street food, markets, and local eateries. These places offer a taste of authentic cuisine at a fraction of the price of tourist traps. Plus, you'll get to rub shoulders with the locals and maybe even pick up a few new phrases in the local language.
Alright, let's talk travel hacks. Specifically, how to use technology to your advantage and save some serious cash. Because in this day and age, your smartphone is basically your best travel buddy. First things first, transportation. Forget those overpriced taxis at the airport. Download a ride-sharing app like Uber or Lyft. Not only are they usually cheaper, but you'll also have a better idea of how much your ride will cost before you even get in the car. And speaking of transportation, train travel can be a great way to get around, especially in Europe and Asia. But those ticket prices can add up quickly. That's where those train ticket apps come in. They'll help you find the best deals, compare prices, and even notify you about special offers. Now, let's talk about finding those hidden gems. Ditch the guidebooks and download some local discovery apps. These apps will point you to cool cafes, hidden bars, off-the-beaten-path attractions, and all sorts of local favorites that you wouldn't find in those tourist traps.
All right, let's talk about everyone's favorite topic. Food. Just because you're traveling on a budget doesn't mean you have to survive on instant ramen and granola bars. First things first, embrace the art of the supermarket sweep. Instead of eating out for every meal, hit up the local grocery store and stock up on essentials like bread, cheese, fruit, and snacks. You can easily whip up a quick and cheap breakfast or lunch in your hostel room or at a park. Next up, street food. Seriously, this is where it's at. From tacos in Mexico City to pad thai in Bangkok, street food offers an explosion of flavors at a fraction of the cost of restaurant meals. Just make sure you choose vendors that look clean and popular with the locals. And speaking of locals, ask them for recommendations. They'll know all the best hole-in-the-wall spots that serve up delicious, authentic food at local prices.
All right, let's get real for a second. Traveling the world is amazing, but it's not always sunshine and rainbows. There are scammers out there, people who prey on unsuspecting tourists. But don't worry, I'm here to give you the lowdown on how to spot these shady characters and avoid their traps. First things first, be wary of anyone who approaches you out of nowhere, especially in crowded tourist areas. They might seem friendly and helpful, but they're often just trying to lure you into a scam. Next up, be cautious of overly friendly strangers who offer to take your picture, show you around, or help you with your luggage. They might be genuinely nice, but they could also be setting you up for something more sinister. And speaking of photos, be careful about what you share online. Don't geotag your location in real time. Avoid posting photos of your boarding pass or itinerary. These details can give away your whereabouts and make you a target for theft or worse.
Alright, let's talk about everyone's favourite four-letter word, free. Just because you're on a budget doesn't mean you have to miss out on all the fun. There are plenty of ways to experience a new place without spending a dime. First up, embrace the great outdoors. Go for a hike, explore a local park, take a dip in the ocean. Nature is free, people, and it's often the best way to experience the beauty of a new place. Next up, museums. Many museums offer free admission on certain days of the week or during off-peak hours. Just do a little research online before you go, and you can soak up some culture without spending a penny. And speaking of culture, check out local events calendars for free concerts, festivals, and markets. These events are a great way to experience the local vibe, mingle with the locals, and maybe even snag some free entertainment.
Alright, let's face it, traveling isn't always smooth sailing. Things can go wrong, plans can change, and sometimes you just find yourself in unexpected situations. But that's all part of the adventure, right? The key is to stay calm, be resourceful, and embrace the unexpected. First things first, language barriers. Don't let a little thing like not speaking the language stop you from exploring a new place. Download a translation app, learn a few basic phrases, and don't be afraid to use hand gestures. Next up, getting lost. It's bound to happen at some point, but don't freak out. Embrace it as an opportunity to stumble upon hidden gems and to experience a different side of the city. Just make sure you have a map or a GPS app handy, and always be aware of your surroundings. And speaking of surroundings, be prepared for cultural differences. What's considered polite in one culture might be considered rude in another. So do your research, be respectful, and always err on the side of caution.
Alright, let's talk about travel apps. Because in this day and age, your smartphone is basically your ultimate travel companion. From finding cheap flights to navigating foreign cities, there's an app for everything. First up, Maps. Google Maps, Maps.me, City Mapper. Whatever your poison, make sure you have a reliable offline map downloaded on your phone. That way, you'll never get lost, even if you don't have data or Wi-Fi. Next up, language translation. Google Translate is a lifesaver. But there are also tons of other great translation apps out there, many of which work offline. Download a few that specialize in the languages you'll be encountering, and you'll be able to communicate with the locals like a pro. And speaking of communication, don't forget about messaging apps. WhatsApp, Telegram, Facebook Messenger. These apps are lifesavers for staying in touch with family and friends back home, especially if you don't have an international data plan.
All right, let's take a break from all the practical tips for a second and talk about something a little more entertaining. Travel stories. Because let's face it, some of the best travel memories come from those unexpected, hilarious, and sometimes downright crazy situations that we find ourselves in when we're exploring the world. So let me tell you about this one time when I was... Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope these tips have inspired you to get out there and explore the world, even if you're on a tight budget. Remember, travel is all about embracing new experiences, stepping outside of your comfort zone, and creating memories that will last a lifetime. Now I want to hear from you. What are your best budget travel tips? Share them in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more travel adventures. Until next time, keep on exploring.